Ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully, because what I'm about to say may unsettle you. If you find yourself constantly attracting the wrong kind of men who lack ambition, men who are weak, men who fail to uphold their responsibilities, then perhaps, just perhaps, the problem is not with men. Perhaps the problem lies within the patterns you embody, the habits you reinforce, and the standards you either uphold or abandon. Now, before you recoil at that idea, consider this. The world does not hand people what they want. It hands them what they are willing to tolerate. And that principle applies to your relationships just as much as it applies to your career or your friendships or your self-respect. The women who consistently attract and keep the best men are not lucky. They are structured. They are disciplined, and they are rare. If you want to attract a man of excellence, one who is strong, disciplined, ambitious, and of high integrity, you must first embody those very qualities yourself. Too often, people approach relationships with a list of demands, expectations, and ideals they seek in a partner, yet they fail to reflect on whether they possess those same virtues. The hard truth is that like attracts like. A person who is undisciplined, lacks purpose, or operates with a mindset of entitlement will not draw in someone who is driven, focused, and committed. Relationships are not about completing one another. They are about complementing each other through shared values and mutual respect. A high-value man, a man who has built himself up through discipline, hard work, and personal growth, does not look for a woman who simply exists in his orbit. He seeks someone who adds to his life, challenges him to become better, and shares in his vision for the future. Women who consistently attract the best men understand this at a fundamental level. They do not wait for a man to improve their circumstances or validate their worth. They develop themselves first. They cultivate intelligence, emotional stability, ambition, and a strong moral compass. These qualities are not only attractive, but also essential for sustaining a healthy, long-term partnership. Excellence is not something that is demanded from others while neglecting it in oneself. A woman who expects a man to be disciplined in his career, responsible in his actions, and unwavering in his principles must hold herself to that same standard. If she expects a man who takes care of his health, she must also be committed to her own well-being. If she wants a man who is emotionally mature, she cannot allow herself to be ruled by unchecked emotions and impulsive behavior. The best men do not want chaos. They want stability, depth, and a sense of purpose. This does not mean that a woman must mirror a man's career ambitions or interests exactly, but she must have her own drive, passions, and sense of fulfillment. A woman who lacks purpose outside of a relationship is at risk of making a man the center of her existence, which is neither attractive nor sustainable. Men of substance respect women who have their own aspirations, who are continually evolving, and who bring something of value to the table beyond physical beauty or surface-level charm. Self-improvement is not about becoming perfect. It is about committing to growth. The best men are not looking for a flawless woman, but they are drawn to those who have the self-awareness to recognize their weaknesses and the discipline to work on them. A woman who is constantly learning, refining her character, and holding herself to a higher standard naturally commands the attention of men who are doing the same. She does not have to chase or demand respect. It is given to her because of who she is. In contrast, those who fail to develop themselves and yet expect the best from others will inevitably face disappointment. A woman who tolerates mediocrity in herself while demanding excellence from a partner will either attract men who lack depth or push away those who do possess it. Relationships function as mirrors. What one brings into a relationship is often reflected back at them. The best women understand this and take full responsibility for their personal growth before expecting it in a partner. Ultimately, the quality of the person you attract is a direct reflection of the standards you uphold for yourself. If you desire an exceptional man, you must first be an exceptional woman. Excellence is not a demand placed upon others. It is a way of being that naturally draws in those who value it. Many people fall into the trap of choosing what is comfortable over what is meaningful, especially when it comes to relationships. The fear of being alone drives many women to settle for men who do not meet their standards, who lack ambition, or who fail to treat them with the respect they deserve. But the women who consistently attract the best men do not allow fear to dictate their choices. They understand that meaningful relationships require patience, discernment, and a willingness to walk away from anything that does not align with their values. Choosing meaning over comfort is about making decisions that serve a greater purpose rather than providing temporary emotional relief. It is easy to stay in a relationship that feels familiar, even if it is unfulfilling. It is easy to rationalize a man's lack of drive, his inability to commit, or his emotional instability, because leaving would mean stepping into the unknown. But great women do not settle for easy. They demand more because they know they are worth more. They recognize that true fulfillment does not come from mere companionship, but from a deep connection, rooted in shared values, mutual respect, and long-term growth. When a woman prioritizes meaning over comfort, she is willing to be alone rather than lower her standards for the sake of convenience. She does not waste years trying to change a man who has no interest in growing, nor does she make excuses for behaviors that betray her self-worth. She understands that a relationship should add value to her life, not drain her energy or compromise her principles. And because she operates with this level of conviction, she naturally commands the respect of men who are equally serious about their own lives. Settling for comfort often leads to resentment. When a woman compromises her standards for the sake of having a partner, she may convince herself that she can tolerate certain flaws or shortcomings. But over time, dissatisfaction grows. She begins to see the gaps in the relationship more clearly, and what once seemed acceptable starts to feel unbearable. The best women avoid this trap entirely by refusing to entertain relationships that do not align with their vision from the very beginning. They do not let chemistry or attachment blind them to the reality of who a man is and what kind of future he can truly offer. This approach requires an incredible amount of self-discipline. It is not easy to walk away from a man who provides some level of companionship, even if he is not the right match. It is not easy to endure the discomfort of solitude while waiting for someone who genuinely meets her standards. But the women who make this choice understand that settling for less is far more painful in the long run. They trust that by refusing to accept mediocrity, they are making space for something greater. The best men who are ambitious, responsible, and emotionally mature, are drawn to women who uphold these high standards. A man who has worked hard to build himself into someone exceptional is not looking for a woman who tolerates laziness, disrespect, or lack of direction. He is looking for a partner who, like him, values excellence and refuses to compromise on what truly matters. Women who choose meaning over comfort signal to these men that they too are striving for something deeper and more fulfilling. Ultimately, the difference between those who settle and those who find great love lies in their willingness to endure temporary discomfort for the sake of long-term fulfillment. The best relationships are built on a foundation of shared purpose and unwavering standards, not on fear, convenience, or emotional dependence. The women who attract the best men understand this fundamental truth and live by it. They do not allow themselves to be swayed by loneliness or societal pressure. Instead, they stand firm in their values, knowing that the right man will recognize their worth and rise to meet them. Men who are strong, competent, and emotionally stable are not looking for chaos. They are looking for depth, reliability, and trust. Women who consistently attract the best men understand that emotions are powerful but must be wielded with wisdom. They do not suppress their feelings or pretend to be invulnerable, but they also do not use emotions recklessly to manipulate, test, or control a relationship. Instead, they master the art of selective vulnerability, knowing when, where, and how to express themselves in a way that strengthens a connection rather than undermining it. Therefore, a woman who understands selective vulnerability does not mistake emotional intensity for genuine intimacy. She knows that being constantly overwhelmed by her feelings and unloading them indiscriminately does not create a deeper bond. It creates instability. The best men are drawn to women who can express themselves with clarity, maturity, and self-awareness. They are repelled by unpredictability, unnecessary drama, or an inability to manage one's own emotional state. A woman who respects herself does not allow her emotions to dictate her actions in a way that damages her relationships. She takes responsibility for her own emotional well-being, rather than expecting a man to fix her or validate her at all times. This does not mean she hides her struggles or pretends to be unaffected by life's difficulties. Instead, she understands that true intimacy is built through trust, and trust is not given blindly, it is earned. She chooses to share her deeper emotions with those who have proven themselves to be worthy of that level of access to her inner world. She does not seek validation from just anyone, nor does she reveal everything too soon. She allows the relationship to develop naturally, revealing more of herself as trust is established rather than forcing emotional closeness. Many women make the mistake of believing that emotional expression alone is what fosters connection, but the reality is that the way emotions are expressed matters just as much as the emotions themselves. A woman who constantly reacts impulsively, lashes out, or seeks constant reassurance will eventually exhaust even the most patient of men. On the other hand, a woman who expresses herself thoughtfully, who communicates what she needs without making demands, and who remains composed even in difficult situations, earns the respect and admiration of men who are equally emotionally mature. Men who have built themselves into strong, capable individuals do not want a woman who drains them. They want a woman who supports them emotionally without creating unnecessary turmoil. This is why selective vulnerability is so powerful. It allows a woman to be open and authentic while maintaining the emotional stability that high-value men find deeply attractive. It is not about suppressing emotions. It is about understanding when to share them, how to communicate them effectively, and with whom they should be shared. A woman who masters this balance creates an environment where a man feels safe to open up as well. Strong men do not easily reveal their struggles or emotions to just anyone. They too require trust and stability in a relationship before they are willing to be vulnerable. When a woman demonstrates that she can manage her emotions wisely, it signals to a man that she is someone with whom he can build something meaningful. She becomes not just a romantic partner, but someone he deeply respects and trusts. Ultimately, the women who attract the best men are those who understand the power of their emotions and use them in a way that strengthens their relationships rather than weakens them. They do not mistake chaos for passion, or emotional outbursts for authenticity. Instead, they cultivate a sense of self-awareness, ensuring that when they open up, it is in a way that fosters deeper connection, rather than pushing someone away. This ability to be selectively vulnerable, to share with wisdom, not recklessness, is what makes them stand out and what makes the best men take notice. Many people enter relationships under the false belief that love is something that simply happens, a feeling that will carry them through any hardship or challenge. But those who attract and sustain meaningful relationships understand that love is not just an emotion. It is a responsibility. Feelings fluctuate, passion fades, and circumstances change, but true love is built on commitment, effort, and the daily choice to nurture a relationship. Women who attract the best men do not passively expect love to maintain itself. They understand that relationships require work, intentionality, and a shared sense of purpose. A woman who sees love as a responsibility does not enter a relationship expecting someone else to complete her. She is already whole. She does not look for a man to fill a void, fix her insecurities, or provide her with a sense of identity. Instead, she takes full responsibility for her own emotional well-being and growth. Because of this, she is able to approach a relationship from a place of strength rather than dependence. The best men, men who are responsible, disciplined, and high value, are drawn to women who understand that love is a partnership, not a rescue mission. This mindset also means that she does not expect love to be effortless. Too many people believe that if love is real, it should always feel good, always be easy, and never require sacrifice. But the women who attract and keep the best men recognize that love, like anything worthwhile, requires patience, effort, and resilience. They do not run at the first sign of difficulty. They do not expect constant excitement or grand gestures to sustain a relationship. Instead, they cultivate a deep respect for the daily acts of commitment that make love thrive. Consistency, reliability, and unwavering support. The best relationships are not built on fleeting passion alone, but on a mutual willingness to invest in each other's growth. A woman who understands love as a responsibility encourages her partner to become the best version of himself, just as she continuously works to better herself. She does not nag or attempt to control him, but she sets high expectations, not just for him, but for the relationship itself. She challenges him to be disciplined, to be accountable, and to live with integrity, just as she holds herself to those same standards. The best men do not shy away from this, they seek it. They want a woman who inspires them, not one who passively accepts mediocrity. This approach also means that she understands the importance of giving as well as receiving. Many women expect a man to provide love, attention, and effort without considering what they contribute in return. But the most successful relationships are built on reciprocity. A woman who truly values love as a responsibility does not take her partner's efforts for granted. She appreciates his sacrifices, acknowledges his hard work, and makes sure that he feels supported and respected. She is not just a recipient of love. She actively builds it through her actions, words, and attitude. A woman with this mindset also knows that sustaining love requires discipline in how she handles conflict, challenges, and external pressures. She does not allow minor disagreements to escalate into major problems. She does not weaponize her emotions or use manipulation to get what she wants. Instead, she approaches difficulties with a sense of maturity and a focus on resolution rather than destruction. Strong, high-value men are drawn to this kind of emotional intelligence because they know it is the foundation of a stable and lasting relationship. Ultimately, the difference between women who attract the best men and those who struggle in relationships comes down to how they perceive love. Those who see it as something that should be effortless and serve only their own desires will find themselves disappointed. But those who recognize love as a daily commitment, a responsibility that requires care, discipline, and mutual investment, will not only attract the best men, but will also build relationships that endure. Love is not just about how someone makes you feel. It is about what you are willing to do to make that love last.